right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We are going to be going into the 5 reasons you're not reaching your goals. It's probably not because you're incapable. These are some hidden obstacles standing in your way, and we're going to be revealing them so that bringing them to the light, maybe we can actually help you remove them from your path.
Yes, we'll talk about some solutions, not just the obstacles, but some solutions as well.
Yes, exactly. We're all about solutions here.
That's right.
All right. I'm here today with Alice Pallam. She is celebrating her 21st year of being a coach, business coach and consultant. And I'm Latar Dargu. Most of you know me already, except for Jill. uh, and I'm a digital marketing strategist and IT consultant. So,
And very good at what you do. Let me just tag that in.
thank you, thank you. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Well, I feel bad about the person stuck in the waiting room, but I'm not sure what we can do about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean,
Okay.
there's like in a zone.
All right. No worries. We'll
It's
send in
grayed
a
out.
recording.
Okay.
How about that? All right. So, do you want to get into this, Alice?
Sure. Clarity is a good thing. In fact, Latara invited me to speak at a summit a couple years ago there where I did a chaos to clarity presentation. So lack of direction and clarity, because there's lots of chaos going on. You don't have that path identified yet, right? Your efforts are scattered around because you're not sure where to go, what's first, second, third. And of course, uh, the solution for that is that you get clear what your direction is. Be able to put some steps together and actually write down those steps and put a plan together with the deadline and
Whoa.
what you need to do to get to that goal.
So clarity, the problem with this is there's just, like Alice mentioned, there's so many different directions to go, and you just have a lot of false starts going in a bunch of different directions. So what you want to try to do is align everything that you're doing to go on one consistent path. And creating a plan is definitely a part of that. Okay. All right. The next thing is the hustle trap. The problem with this is you're constantly working hard without a strategy, which we kind of it lended to the clarity piece as well.
Mhm.
It's because we often associate hard work with success and getting results, but your solution is to work smarter, not harder. And what you need to try to figure out is how to prioritize, how to keep all of your efforts in going in one direction. And the problem with this is once you start feeling burnout, you actually become a lot less productive. So even though you're working harder, you're not actually making more progress. So, is there anything that you would like to chime in on this one, Alice?
You did a great job. I'm all about planning and having your steps laid out. You know what you need to do first, second, third, 12th.
Mhm.
And that the whole work smarter rather than harder,
Yes.
which you'll hear us come back to in a couple more slides as well. It's such a key. You don't have to work hard, hard, hard to be successful, unlike that stereotype. Um, it's being smarter to get to your end goal. And the more time you have left over, the better.
Yes. Alice, would you mind muting the I'm not sure who was doing that, but anyway.
No problem.
The other thing is you got to take time for yourself. Focus on self-care every once in a while because as an entrepreneur, it's very hard to take time for yourself because you feel like you're taking money away from your business when you're doing that. So know that that is in line with your greater goal and your greater achievement. Procrastination. This one was huge for me for a very long time. I identified as a chronic procrastinator, and then I met Alice, and she's been helping me a lot in this arena because it's probably one of the biggest things is you keep thinking, oh, I'll start it tomorrow, and you might be resistant to doing something because you're not sure how to do it, or maybe you know how to do it, but you just don't want to do it, or maybe you want to do it, but you just have all of these other daily tasks that are in your way constantly. So,
Indeed. And oh, go ahead.
yes, please go for it.
So one of the One of the keys that Latard and I had talked about, and I often talk with people about, is put some time on your calendar because that
Yes.
helps you sort through all the other moving pieces. Because, oh, 10 o'clock, I'm supposed to work on this. And if something comes up, I'm always a proponent of move it, don't lose it. Because if you just keep scheduling over stuff, then all of a sudden you're at the end of the week going, what happened to that thing I was supposed to do? So when you do the move it around because it was there on your calendar somewhere, you're more likely to actually get it done than to just keep not seeing it, right? Out of sight, out of mind.
Hmm. Yes. The timer is a brilliant solution because if you set a timer for 5 minutes, then you can say, okay, I'm just going to work on this for 5 minutes. Then it's breaking it down into a smaller chunk. It doesn't seem like this overwhelming obstacle anymore. It feels more like, oh, it's just 5 minutes. I can do this, no problem. And it kind of takes that delay away from just doing something right away, and it gets rid of the overwhelm of the big picture.
Yes, it gives you that small chunks. That's lots of things that you'll kind of see that theme here as well.
Oh, and one of the things that Alice really helped me with here was uh, I used to only put client meetings with in any interactions that I had with other people on my calendar, but I wasn't putting in I'm going to work on this for 1 hour on this day. So she really helped me in putting those things on my calendar so that they actually get done.
Thank you.
All right. Perfectionism.
And I love having these right back to back because for me, they kind of have a relationship. I
Yeah.
am a little more on this side of perfectionism, and Latar was kicking me out of that comfort zone last night again because I do want things to be very correct and right. I want it a certain way. If it's not a certain way, I'm not happy about it. But and in fact, I have this. I think I've had this sign on my wall for years, and some maybe that's become too. I'm used to it now. But perfect is better. Excuse me, done is better than perfect because that reminds me that there is a satisfactory level that is good enough. Doesn't have to be exactly the way you want it to be. Doesn't have to be exactly everything lined up before you can start doing something. Case in point, this never launching piece that there is a manufacturing calls it minimum level um, to go, right? So it's like this is good enough to go. Might not be the prettiest thing and the most perfect thing ever on the planet, or the best video on the planet, but it's good enough to be released for other people to see and to start working your way down. Um, and for me, this can cause me to procrastinate, right? Because it's not good enough yet to get it done.
Right. Yes,
Um,
they go hand in hand.
yes, and you see here that you end up using too much time on this. How many reiterations of this slide am I going to do? How many times? How many times am I going to redo this worksheet because it's not quite perfectly ready to go yet? So that just becomes a time waster, right? Because you're not getting anything done when you just reiterate, and go. And this again is can cause burnout, right? So you get frustrated about you've been working, but it's not good enough, so you didn't get done. You haven't launched that new project or that new idea or that new product. It's just sitting waiting to launch. So progress over perfection. That, in fact, there's other places that I've heard that used lately as well. Um, Progress is progress. You start moving the needle forward, and this again helps you have some idea of the steps you need to take to get going. Now, this question is also very apropos sometimes. What is the worst that could happen? If I use this version, am I going to lose 20 grand? Am I gonna, oh, that one person who's going to pay me $100,000 is not going to sign up. It's what is the worst thing that could happen if it goes out with this version?
Yes, I love that. And setting a time limit is also a brilliant idea because if you set yourself a deadline, at a certain point, you're just going to have to say, okay, it's good enough, send it.
Right. And understanding the downstream implications of it not getting done by that date because it's part of the whole puzzle.
Exactly. Right. The next one is overwhelm. So your to-do list will feel never ending because there's always daily tasks that are being added on top of everything else that you're trying to do in your business. And there might be too many different choices that you're trying to make. Which platform do I go on? What social media platform do I go on? What tech do I use? What message should I be sending? How many different things are you working on right now? And it- what is it affecting? How is it affecting you? Is it causing you to have burnout? Is it scattering your efforts so that you're just sitting there spinning your wheels, basically? Or are you just stuck in not taking action because you're feeling overwhelmed?
Hmm.
So
Again, you're seeing this kind of key of overwhelming burnout, right?
exactly, exactly. All right. So what are the things that you can do to take care of this problem? The first thing is to focus on one task at a time. Prioritize what matters most. Focus on those things. For business owners, it's typically what can you do right now that is an income generating activity? Because if you go out of business, then all of these things that you're trying to deal with are kind of a moot point. But
That
you
is a true
also,
statement.
I'm sorry.
I said that is a true statement.
But you
If you
also
go
want
out
to
of
focus
business,
on
none of these things are an issue.
you also want to focus on things that are important to you personally, like your family. Are you taking time for your family? Are you um doing important things that you need to be taken care of? Are you managing your responsibilities? The next thing
Absolutely.
is to apply the 80/20 rule. Alice, do you want to share a little bit more about the 80/20 rule?
Well, typically what we find is that 20% of the effort provides 80% of the result, right? If you think about when you have a big group of people working on a project, is everybody giving the same amount of effort, or is it 20% of the people that are giving the rest of the effort? So it's taking a look at what is going to give you the biggest bang for the time in this case. Um, where is the key activity to drive the result? And it's usually not just spread out evenly.
Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, you might have to do some tracking and some analytics and research to figure out what that 20% of activity is bringing you the biggest result. Then you can hone in on that.
Yes, you do have to do a little tracking.
Yep.
Data is a good thing.
And lastly, take a step back. Again, this goes back to the self-care, right? We want to just step back. Sometimes we get caught in the weeds. We're down here lost in the minutia, and the more we focus on that, the more we feel like that is the end all be all. But just take a step back and look at the grander picture
Mhm.
and take a breath. In fact, maybe we should all just take a breath right now. Deep breath in. Sigh it out. And then
This
that
is
kind of just decompresses you. And now all of a sudden you feel more receptive, more open.
it reminds me of that phrase you're missing the forest for the trees because you're so focused on on the detail you're missing the whole big forest, right?
Yes, that's a great analogy. I love it. Okay. Do you want to take this one?
Sure. So traditional planning sometimes is not the best path to success. So we're seeing a couple of themes here again. This whole analysis paralysis of you're so fine tuning and going beyond where you need to go to get that plan started that you don't get started, right? Um, Inflexibility of the plan. If you have the opportunity to take one of our goal setting classes, we talk about smarter goals. So you set your goals, but you have an evaluate and revise, right? Because something might have changed. So it doesn't mean I set this goal, it has to stay this way for the whole year. You want to be in tune with things that are changing that would affect that, not as a cop out, as it were, that got too hard, but just did something change that you need to flex a little bit and move that goal so that it makes sense with what the current environment is. Because you can't just have that static look and decide that you're done, right? Which also covers that whole lack of iteration.
Yes. Yes, you have to remain flexible. You have to be able to constantly adjust because um, a pilot doesn't start out in the exact direction that they're going to end up being at. They're constantly shifting to the left or shifting to the right or shifting up or shifting down as they go. So it's all about monitoring where you are, reviewing what you've done and what you haven't done, what works and what doesn't work, so that you can make these little micro adjustments as you're going, so that you actually end up on target.
Yeah, the pilot's a great example. I can't remember the exact stats about that, but it's like if you're off by like half a degree, you end up 100 miles the wrong place at the end, right? Because it's just that little bit changes the direction, which is why little corrections keep you on track. Not be big, huge changes, but it's little uh direction changes here and there.
Yes, yes. Don't underestimate those little micro refinements. Okay. So now that we've identified the barriers, what will you do? Which of these reasons do you struggle with most?
And I always start with pick one thing, right? What's the one thing take away from what we all just talked about to go work on? A lot of you talked about that already, which is here's the key thing to work on, because that is taking the first step. And even some of the references we had about going back to notes from prior events and prior things, that is one thing. I can't remember the gentleman I've heard this from before, but always talked about when you leave an event like this, make sure you do something right afterwards, because otherwise you put the paper in the pile, you go on to something else, you're like, oh yeah, where did I do that? What's it going to do? Oh, I had some good ideas, but I've lost track. So it's always great. And I have this on my calendar because you know I'm all about the calendar. Um, I will put, I call it prep or post time. So if I attend an event, I've got a half hour on my calendar after the event to make sure I do that whole what did I learn? What am I going to do? What I want to either share with somebody, put on my calendar to work on, and make sure that you take that action. And as we talked about, there is support available, and we would love to work with you working through some of these things. This is one of our favorite things to do called the Journey to Success. What we've done is taken each of our areas of expertise and married them together because they play off each other. They work together. I work on the time navigation, goal setting, planning, and then we roll into things that Latara is our expert at for marketing. Some things we talked about today, like profile, um, getting your profile set up the way you want it to. There's a word that's escaping me at the moment. Optimizing, there we go.
Yeah.
Optimizing your profile to move forward, build that audience, attract people. So we're going to we're happy to say we're going to run Journey to Success again. And Latar, if you want to bring up the next.
Sure. So this is one of the pieces that Alice is going to be going over.
It's all about time navigation. We talk about your relationship with time. What is your most productive time of day? What are you doing? You heard me reference the 4Ds talking to Christine. After we take a look at what you do every day, all day, for a week, we then go through that process of what requires your authority or expertise, what needs to be done, but not by you. Get it off your plate, delegate, outsource, take care of that, and look at how to marry your goals and your time to get the best combination and get you towards achieving those goals in a way that works well for you. And we always talk about business and personal. You heard Latara talk a little bit about we remember, the personal things you need to do. You will not, and I know this is very, you hear this all the time, but 20 years from now, you'll not be going, oh, I wish I would have done more business. You'll be going, oh, I wish I would have been at that soccer game. I wish I would have gone to see uh, my parents again. Those are the things you have to remember not to forget. So we include that in all of our discussion about goals and time.
Well said.
And speaking of goals, um, so this is looking at having your goals aligned to your overall vision. Where's your long-term destination? And then what are those goals to get you in that direction? We do smarter goals, as I referenced before, because it's all about not being inflexible. We set goals, we start working towards them. We have a on purpose reflection to evaluate and refine as you learn about what's going on. Because often when we start something new or a new piece of the puzzle, like for me, it's some new social media ideas. You want to see how they're going, and then you evaluate and course correct where needed, right? It's not just, I said I'm going to do this, I do it all year, whether it's working or not, right? You don't want to do that. And we always make sure we can measure because that again tells us two things. One, do we need to course correct at all? And two, we're making progress towards that goal. If you just say, I want to get 10 more clients sometime, you don't know how you're doing towards that goal if you don't have a deadline for it, right? And we talked a lot about deadlines today as well.
Love it.
And the planning piece. I love planning because, again, one of my favorite quotes is a goal without a plan is just a wish. Because we have that I want 10 more clients goal. We have no idea what your plan is to get there, what your action steps. Where are you looking for these clients? What are you going to attract these clients with? Where's the time on your calendar, right? So we want to make sure that we help you put that plan together. Resources is people and things. Latar thought it was funny that when I said resource things, um, but that can be supplies. Um, Depending on what your business is, if you're building something, you need all the pieces to build it, right? If you don't have a way to get that third piece, you might not get where you're going to go. Which brings me to contingency planning. Lots of experience with this. We always make sure we touch on, let's think about that what if. Because if you think about it right now, before it becomes that emergency of my supplier's missing, I lost my key person, my whole market just collapsed. If you've put some thought into that before it's a crisis, you're much better positioned to deal with it when it happens. And then accountability, key to lots and lots of things with success is having that accountability partner to be your partner in crime, to you call you on your shit, basically. You can talk yourself into lots of things, right? Oh, I can get that done tomorrow. Well, it's not that important. I'll do it next week. And if you have an accountability partner who says, hey, by the way, that really is important to get done today, or don't talk yourself into not getting that done because you think it's all of a sudden not important. That accountability partner helps you stay on track. And of course, is somebody you can celebrate with when you get to your destination.
And Allison's been my accountability partner for what, coming up on 5 years now?
Oh my
And
God.
longer? Oh my gosh. Yeah,
It very
it
well,
really
yeah,
does
it
make a
is.
difference. I mean, it's a game changer. If you just sit there and you try to keep yourself accountable, it's just not going to happen because if you fail, you're just like, well, you're either going to beat yourself up or you're just going to say, oh, well. But if you have somebody that you are saying, these are my goals, these are my deadlines, then they're going to be, okay, are you on it? Are you on it? Sometimes we need a kick in the pants.
And typically you don't want to let other people down, right? Sometimes it's easy to let
Yes.
ourselves down. I didn't get it
Yes,
done.
very much so.
But I told Latara I was going to get it done, and now I have to tell her I didn't get it done. It's not a good feeling.
Yes. Yes, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. It incentivizes it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Now this is a new piece we just added.
This is our
Because
A squared.
AI is here. There is no there's no denying it. You can put your head in the sand all you want, but AI is here to stay, and you might as well get used to it. You might as well adapt to it because it is also one of those game changers where you will cons what's the word I'm looking for? Not consolidate. Consolidate?
Be more
Collapse.
efficient.
Collapse time.
There you go.
There we go. Maybe you should handle this one, Alice.
No, no, no. Well, for me, and we love this conversation we started, and we added this week in the middle because I tend to do the things we just talked through. Latara tends to do the things that we're going to go through next because it works for both of us. For me, we often talk about automation to do things automatically, whether it's using Calendly is an automation, right? People can schedule on your calendar with you doing nothing. I mean, that's one piece. So there's lots of things that are automation to do tasks for you, take those repetitive tasks and get them done without you having to continue to intervene. You set it up once and let it go. And
Mhm.
that then molds us into AI, which does some of that, but so much more.
Yeah, yeah. Like an email campaign is a good example of an automation.
Yeah.
And instead of it, so ultimately, we all want a good, sizable email list, but we don't want to sit there and manually send out thousands of emails. That would be the worst use of our time. So that's why these little things that we can set up for ourselves, things we might not even consider because maybe we've been using these things for a while and we just take it for
Mhm.
granted. But consider the alternative of if you didn't have it in place, how much time are you wasting?
Yes.
And then I do want to go into more of AI in the creative process, in your marketing efforts, when you're writing, when you're creating social media posts. You can integrate it in almost every aspect of life. So take advantage of it. Act like AI is your own virtual assistant and
Yes.
give it all of these tasks that are the mundane and the boring and the tedious things that you don't want to do. So make sure that you are able to stay on top of that because that the people that are willing to work with AI have a competitive edge over others that don't.
Mhm.
So then I'm going to be going into crafting your sales funnel. And if you don't know what a sales funnel is, then you should definitely join us. But basically, you're bringing people into your world. It's going to start with awareness. Do they actually know about you? Do they know you exist? Do they know what you do? Do they know how you can help them? So you want to make sure you make those connections with people. You want to engage with them and pique their curiosity and increase their interest in what you have to offer. And you can do this by providing valuable information. And you want to make them you want to have them make that decision of working with you. So you want to make those opportunity points for them and also present solutions like we did today. Like, are you having these barriers? Here is a solution for you. And how can you get out of your own way? How can you move to the next step? What is the logical next step? And then taking action, getting them to actually make that decision and move forward. And if you convert these people that were strangers and now they're customers, and you want to also keep supporting them along their path, you don't want to just, okay, that's it. So it's an ongoing evolutionary thing where you're converting all of these leads into loyal returning customers. And then this was something that you mentioned, Laura, optimizing your social media profiles. Let's see if I can move this out of the way here. There we go. So you want to, first of all, you want to have a consistent brand across multiple platforms. So if somebody meets you on LinkedIn and then they friend you on Facebook, they know to connect those dots because it's obvious that you're the same person. And once you're starting to build that awareness, that brand awareness, it makes it easier for people to find you. So that's why it's awesome to be consistent across all of these platforms with just that presentation, that overall first impression. And again, it's increasing that visibility because if you're appearing on a consistent basis and you're always providing the same type of content, people connect you with that niche, whatever expertise you have. So they're like, okay, Alice, she's the goal setting queen. We're gonna reach out to her for that, or she's the time navigation expert, and I'm having issues managing my time, so maybe I should reach out to her because she's posting, right? She's sending out messages and sharing information, and they're making that connection, and you're increasing your audience engagement. Again, with that relevant value added content. And you want that engagement from them so that it's reciprocal. It's like a conversation, it's a digital conversation. And at the head of your sales funnel, you want to create irresistible lead magnets that draw people in and give them a compelling reason to make that connection with you. And you could do this through creating valuable content on social media or email or writing a book, even. That's a really brilliant lead magnet in and of itself. And you want to address the prospect's pain points. You don't want to put out things that don't speak to them or don't resonate with them. You want it to address something that they're thinking about, what keeps them up at 3 a.m. and how can you help them with that? Because a lot of the people coming along say, what's in it for me? Why am I paying attention to this? Why am I spending time on this? So that's why you want to have that audience resonance. And you also want to make sure that you have some form of uh, call to action so that you can be building your list. All right, to summarize, this is everything you're getting. Let me just move us one more time here. Oh, oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So to summarize, you're getting the time navigation, the goal setting, the planning, the AI, the automation, optimizing your social media profile, creating your lead magnet, creating your sales funnel. So this is going to be a total of 8 weeks. We're going to be live on Zoom like we are right now. And in addition to a group setting, we're also going to provide you with a one-to-one strategy call with both of us. So Alice would be more of a business triage session if you want to go into that for a minute, Alice. about what's involved in that.
Yeah, so we take a look at what's going on in your business today, and depending on where you are, look at what are the steps to take to either shore it up or move it into the next level. Thanks, Jill, for being here today. Uh, to put that, that will result in putting that plan together to move you to that next step.
Perfect, perfect. And then the one-on-one with me would be more about crafting your marketing strategy. You have a book. How can you utilize this in your marketing efforts? How can you use your book to build your email list? Or if you don't have a big email list, what are the steps that we can take to build your email list? Or if you're not on social media, what steps can we take to build that up so you can start having a strong presence? So it's very customized when we talk about all of these individual things on a one-to-one and in a group setting. So it's not like a cookie cutter approach. It's very personalized. So here's everything you're getting. Once again, you're getting 8 weeks live sessions on Zoom, and you also get lifetime access to other recordings. You get 2 one-to-one sessions. You are getting a total of 7 different courses, which are each valued at 197, but today you get all of that for one payment of $197. And I guess this this is a perfect example of done beats perfect, because I forgot to put on here the value that you're getting, but this is an early bird price and this will be going up over time. And if you're interested, you can go to this link.
Speaking of AI,
you can pull out your phone and let's see if I can get this. There we go. You can pull out your phone and grab this QR code, but the link is tinyurl.com/J journey to the number 2 capital S success. Journey to success. And maybe we can put the link in the chat as well.
and you guys gotta love this graphic that Latara made.
Yeah, notice our faces on there.
Great graphic. The pilots, I got your back. Journey to success. I love it. Latara did that, right?
Yes. And I'll show you guys how to do that too.
She's so good in all of these. Oh my God. I had her do something for me too, so she's phenomenal.
Yes. Well, in fact, my background is a Latara creation.
I figured, yeah. And the funny thing is, those are my color too. Those are my branding theme color. I love it. I love that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I helped Holly with one of her courses for the graphics for that.
Yeah, she did that for me, and I was like, "Ooh, I have to use her all the time," because more to come, but I'm not there yet. There's a few stuff I have to do, but Latara would be my person.
Well, thank you so much.
Totally agree. I would be.
She's good. She's good. And the thing is, she works with you. Let's say you don't want something, and then, oh, okay, let's shift it. And she's quick, responsive, and responds to your needs.
Yes. Getting back to that whole, it's not a cookie cutter.
Right, exactly.
I'm going to put my time navigation hat on to say that we're.
No, thank you very much.
Yes,
wonderful. Thank you so
much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
Very valuable.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody.
And participating.